Good morning. Welcome to the Daily Market Wrap for Tuesday the 16th of June. Jack, overnight, US and Iran have made some fairly significant peace talks, which seems to be progressing. I feel like we seem to say that every few days. Does this seem a bit more concrete than previously?
Yeah, this is the most significant progress we've made. Both sides have come out and acknowledged they've agreed to terms. Nothing's in writing yet, nothing's actually been officially released. Markets are picking apart statements from either side, but they've got an official signing of a memorandum of understanding in Geneva, Switzerland on Friday. However, all that is basically they've got 60 days to really negotiate the broader deal, which is going to include Iran's nuclear capabilities and things like that. But why markets have reacted so positively is all military hostilities and conflicts got to cease immediately, so that's all been halted. And the Strait of Hormuz, which has been dictating the global oil supply, that's got to open up without any restrictions, so no tolls or blockades or anything of the like. So that's why markets are so happy about this latest development and why it's the most significant.
Thank you. And SpaceX, everyone's probably heard of SpaceX, a lot of chatter recently, the IPO last week.
Yep.
Can you tell us about SpaceX and what's happened since the IPO?
Yeah, so obviously IPO towards the end of last week, went up 19% the first day, had a full trading day yesterday, went up another 20% again. So it opened up at $135 a share. It's now sitting above $190 a share, which is quite incredible after 2 days of trading. It's the biggest IPO in history. The company is now worth over $2 trillion, which is quite incredible for considering it made a loss last year. So it's not actually a profitable company yet, which is why these valuations are just so incredible. It's why analysts are having a really tough time trying to predict what's going to happen in the future. If anyone tells you they know what's going to happen with it, they don't know. So yeah, time will tell to see how markets react. This is really going to dictate and drive the AI story. So yeah, it's one to really keep an eye on. It's worth noting that when we look at indexes like the NASDAQ, which is the tech index, SpaceX isn't actually part of that just yet. So if you hold NASDAQ, you're not having any exposure, or clients aren't having any exposure to SpaceX. But they updated the rules last month to fast track these large IPOs, so it will probably be part of it in the next 15 days. But yeah, it's just worth noting that clients holding NASDAQ aren't actually exposed to SpaceX. As it currently stands, although the SpaceX optimism is obviously boosting up the NASDAQ.
Thank you, Jack. And we'll have SpaceX available to trade this week, right, Jess?
Yeah, this week.
Cool. Yeah, no, we made a fairly purposeful decision not to list it prior. There was going to be restrictions on shorting due to the institutions where we received the pricing from. So we thought best to wait until the volatility died down a little bit before we get clients trading up. So interest rate announcements today, Jack. Back home, the RBA announcements coming out for Savo.
Yep, RBA expected to hold firm, currently sitting at 4.35%. Obviously, markets have already accounted for that. What traders are going to be looking at is the policy statement, and then Michelle Bullock, the RBA governor, her press conference that will follow the announcement. So traders are going to be looking for language around that towards future rate decisions towards the back end of 2026 and start of 2027.
And similarly, over in Japan, we got the Bank of Japan announcing their rates today.
Yeah, so the yen's, obviously, we talk about it the last however long, few weeks, few months. The yen continues to be under selling pressure. Bank of Japan is expected to actually bump up their rate to 1%, which is obviously in the global scale still incredibly low. However, this isn't really going to support the yen they're predicting because analysts are predicting the future outlook will evolve. The Bank of Japan won't be able to tighten any further because how much pressure the Japanese economy is under. Inflation's pretty prevalent over there. It's affecting cost of living, so I don't think the Bank of Japan will actually have room to tighten further, which is why the market isn't going to react overwhelmingly positively to this rate rise like they might ordinarily would.
And some big moves overnight. Start with the NASDAQ, fairly obvious one on the back of those peace talks.
Yeah, so we talk about the NASDAQ, optimism around AI driven by SpaceX this last week has boosted it. Equities are a risk on asset. Lowering geopolitical tensions is going to boost up risk sentiment and risk appetite, so equities are going to get a boost.
And to confirm, when will we know for sure when SpaceX is going to be included in these indices?
So I believe the new rules, which were announced in May, I believe they fast track it based on the size of the company and whether it's going to hold its value moving forward. So they used to require at least a quarter of full trading. It would normally take up a year for it to be included. I think with the new rules, it's now going to be moved forward to 15 days. So they're going to assess the price after 7 trading days. And I think after 15 days is when they can include it. So probably by the end of this month.
Okay. And the Aussie dollar, what are we seeing here?
Yep, so the Aussie is another risk-on asset. The big boost we saw at the start of the trading day yesterday coincided with the big peace talks. So obviously, risk on asset, risk appetite, people flow into the Aussie. Conversely, the USD is a safe haven asset. So when there's less tension, less demand for that. So those offsetting priorities sort of gave it a bit of a boost. Obviously, the interest rate decision and commentary will have a big effect on that today. So keep your eyes peeled. US is also having their interest rate decision on Thursday, so keep an eye out for both of those.
Thank you, Joe. And gold up over 2% overnight.
Yeah, so gold had another positive day yesterday. That's for a multitude of factors. The conflict easing will ease inflation pressures, which will help it. Again, the USD safe haven status, that works with gold as well. And it's also a bit of a relief rally. Obviously, gold took off the end of last year and in January this year. I think investors were sort of waiting for an opportunity to sort of get bullish and start buying it again. And the peace announcement provided an opportunity to do just that.
Alrighty, and some big volatility moves in Ripple over the past couple of days.
Yeah, so Ripple had obviously a huge spike yesterday, came off a fair bit towards the end of the session and has opened up down again today. That was sort of similar with other crypto assets like Bitcoin. Again, this is coinciding with the peace deal, but if you sort of take out, this is only looking at the last 3 days. If you sort of draw out a bit and actually look at its daily performance, it's still well below where it has been trading, and over the last 12 months, it's down nearly 50%. So in the grand scheme, this was sort of a small blip, but it shows that you can see the RSI, which is a momentum indicator, was moving into the oversold territory. So there was enough catalyst to investors to buy a little bit yesterday.
And so crypto obviously been around for a while now. Are we starting to see now certain cryptos that are behaving as we expected based on current events, etc., or are we still just a bit of a wild west there in terms of how the markets are reacting?
It is still largely the Wild West, but it looks like investors are moving away from cryptos which have been viewed as a store of value, like a Bitcoin, and moving into cryptos that have more of a practical use for transactions and liquidity and things of that nature. So there is a bit of a shift, and I think things like Ripple and Bitcoin have suffered as a result of that.
Dollar CAD for the chart of the day.
Yep, so again, this is just sort of exploring how traders will look at charts and use charts to make decisions. So this is looking at the USD Canadian pair since the end of last year. This is a daily chart. The pink line, we call it a resistance line. You can see towards the end of March, you hit that line, face pressure and drop back away. But the last few days, you can see it's hit that resistance level again, broken above it. So now that resistance will flip and act as support. So that's one thing traders look at. The other thing down the bottom are our momentum indicators. So up the top, we've got the RSI, the relative strength indicator. That will oscillate between the 70 level and the 30 level. That shows the momentum of buyers versus sellers. The higher it is, the more people are buying, the lower it is, the more it's selling. When it hits the 70-30, that is theoretically when the pressure will flip from one way to another. So you can see it's sitting above the 70 level, so buyers might be getting exhausted, so sellers might be starting to capitalise on that, which will push the price down. And below that is another indicator, which again just shows that it's got positive momentum, which is why it's been bullish for sort of over the last month. So yeah, just watch out for that pink line. That's going to be the key resistance point at this point in time, and what traders will be looking at closely.
And the article of the day, just some more information about that SpaceX IPO.
Yeah, this would dive into the IPO a bit, what the share price is doing, what analysts are predicting it might do, or they're forecasting it, and would sort of delve into the numbers a bit. We can say sort of it's worth 2 trillion, 1 billion, billions of dollars. It's hard to actually fathom that. A good example of how to put this into context is 1 million seconds runs for about 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years or 33 years. So you think $1 trillion, 1,000 billion, just these numbers are astronomical. And it's pretty crazy to think that a non-profitable company can be sort of hitting these levels. So just something to think in mind when you're looking at these numbers and sort of putting them into an actual context.
Thank you, Joe. Nice one. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.